Hi, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I thought it would be important to set the intention of my channel, of my work, and I'm going to do that by creating a slip for myself. And this is a test sample right here. I did a sample, one of my favorite quotes by Bell Hooks, art as a practice of freedom. And I used watercolors, acrylic markers, and I did the background, and then I taped off certain sections before I did the background, and then I wrote in the words art as a practice of freedom. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And if you're new to my channel, which you probably are because this is my second video, my name is Jessicadickens. I am a jewelry designer and mixed media artist, and I'm here practicing my art imperfectly, and I hope to inspire you to do the same. So let's get started. So I wanted to be able to hang this in my studio, so I'm using a piece of 9 by 12 watercolor paper, cold press, 100% cotton, and I'm using artist tape. I taped off different places on the watercolor paper, and then I wrote the words that I wanted on top of the artist tape so that I know where everything is going to go, and if all the words that I chose we're going to be able to we're going to actually fit onto the block of watercolor paper. So I listened to a talk a while back by Liz Gilbert, and she talked about writing yourself a permission slip. You give yourself permission to be vulnerable. You give permission yourself to say no. You give yourself a permission slip to walk away from things that don't serve you, right? And so I thought that would be a good way to set the tone of my channel and of my art practice, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back. And by writing this permission slip, we'll be able to, during those times when we feel like we're holding ourselves back, we can look to our permission slip and say, you know what, I wrote that permission slip, and on it it says, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to be able to walk away and come back. So let's set those types of intentions. So here are the words that I chose. So think about for yourself, what words speak to you while you're, I'll get to the products that I use. I'll list them all down in the um, description, channel description. So I wrote, I give myself permission to have fun, to color outside the lines, be curious, make mistakes, do it wrong, be a beginner, be gentle with myself, start over, use my imagination, escape in my art, make what I want, try new things, be brave, not stay in my lane, leave it and come back later. And I changed one of them. I put make time for rest. So right now in the video, I went through, I'm using my Kuretake set that I have, and I'm using acrylic inks in different colors. Like I said, I'll list them down in the description. I'm picking out some, I had some handmade watercolors too that I may use. Do I use some? Yes, I do, because that has a little bit of shimmer in there, so I picked that out. And I'll list the artist and her website. She has an Etsy store. I think her name is Claire, but I'm not sure. I don't want to. That's another one by the same artist. So right now I'm getting ready to start the process. So you can see the words that I choose. that I chose. I'm sorry. And I also took out my my Starry colors by Kuretake as well. So even though what I did was when I masked down, when I taped down my when I taped down the tape and then I put my words over it, what I did before I taped down my paper, I put the tape onto like part of my clothing just to get rid of some of the tackiness so that um, after I paint over it and let it dry, paint over the tape and let it dry, it won't pull any of my watercolor paper up. But I found that at some times during this process, it actually did pull some of the watercolor paper up, so it's not completely flat. So it did kind of rip my watercolor paper, which was unfortunate, but it's not that big of a deal, and it's just for me. And it, I have to go with it. Just I'm giving myself permission just to let it be. Now, another cool idea is to make little cards out of your make little cards for yourself, right? Instead of writing a one big permission slip, you can make little versions of these cards, which is very cool. And then do them in different colors. And you can do them in like artist trading cards. This would be a great idea for like making small artist trading cards. You can do it that way. So as you can see, I'm just randomly putting down color in different locations. I picked out my favorite colors. Like I love that red oxide. I think that's what it's called. It's not my favorite color, but it's one of my favorite acrylic inks that I have. But my favorite color is turquoise. So I picked colors that I loved. So when you're doing your permission slip for yourself, pick your colors that you love. Even in the sample that I showed, art that had the words art as a practice of freedom, I did it in different tones, but it had turquoise in there. So yeah, so make sure when you're writing your own permission slip, you can make it as beautiful as you want. And you see, I did the best that I could with what I had, with my skill level. So now I just sped it up just a little bit, and now I'll probably throw in some music here, so you don't have to hear me talking, but you can just see the basic premise. I'm just laying down color all over the watercolor paper around the words. And there's that red oxide that I love so much. Putting it in different places. Okay, I sped it up and I added some music. So enjoy until the end. So at this point, I am almost done with filling in the background, um, making sure all the places have color, and just getting it to a nice point where I will start to you can see close up. You got to add your signature. I put a signature down at the bottom, and I changed one of the words, and I made sure that I wrote out I give myself permission to at the top, and I'm going to start now taking a micron pen. Do I show that in this? Let me see. I'm probably looking for it right now. Um, yep, looking for the pen. Where's the pen? What did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, so I'm using a micron pen in black, and it's an 08 size. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it around. All right, there we go. 08 size. So I'm gonna pull up the tape and then write the words underneath. Now, like I said earlier in the video, some of the watercolor paper does come off. It's not a smooth peeling off of the tape, so a little bit unfortunate, but I made it work nonetheless. Trying to be as neat as possible. I don't have the neatest handwriting, but I tried my best. It's not calligraphy or anything, but it's legible. And you can make it as detailed as you want. Like you could do mark making inside that white space right there if you wanted to. I chose to try to get rid of the squareness of each block by adding a little bit of um, watercolors around or some inks around the words so that those lines aren't so defined. Like I said, you can change the color. You don't have to use black. Just let your imagination flow and just make it as beautiful and as creative as you are, as you want it to be. Okay, I'm going to speed it up here. You get the gist of it. I'm just removing the tape, writing the words, filling in with inks and watercolor, remove tape, fill in with the inks and the watercolor, and try to get rid of those lines. And that's basically it. That's the whole process. I'm slowing it down right now because I want to show you, instead of cleaning off my brushes in the water, I mean, I do clean them off in a brush, but before I dip them into the brush, I clean off my brush on a paper towel. And you see how pretty um, all those different ink splatters are on that paper towel. I'm going to save that, let it dry, and then I'm going to add it into my collage. I learned that from another watercolorist. I think it was CC Creations, but I'm not sure. I would have to um, go back and see who I learned that from, but I just thought that that was a very cool technique. So I signed the piece, and I'm just looking around to see if there's any other places that I want to fill in with color. Yep, I want to pull out my little teal. Oh, nope, I don't. Okay. Okay, we're all done. We're all finished. And I hope you get inspiration from this process, this project. Make it your own. Do it the way you want to do it. I would love to see it. Leave some comments down below as to what words you would want to use and how you would how do you set the intentions for yourself and for your art practice, especially being somebody who's new. So it's been a pleasure creating this for you, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.